Member for Colton.
Thank you, sir. My question is for the Minister for Education. Can the Minister update the House on the practical relief being provided to families, staff and students in bushfire-affected communities?
Minister. Order. Member for Lights, call to order.
I thank the member for Colton for the question. And as the Minister for Education, I obviously have a role and I have information that I think most members of the House will be interested in. As the member for Morialta, can I say I'm really pleased to have the opportunity to reflect on this issue. I will do so more in the address and reply and on the motion that's been put on the notice paper. It's been a significantly traumatic time for my community, for the community of the member for Carville, for the member for Mawson and a range of other people around South Australia, and I just want to take this opportunity to place my absolute regard and respect for everyone who has been volunteering, for everyone who has been in paid employment, working in the relief, the response and the recovery efforts so far. My community is very grateful for that support. There's a lot of trauma confronting people in the bushfire-affected areas, but particularly as the Minister for Education, we take a particular role in relation to trying to relieve and support the needs of the children in our community, whose futures are so important for all of us. There are a range of immediate measures and there are a range of longer-term measures that we're looking at, we've already taken and that we are also looking at for potentially expanding that response from the Department of Education. Already we have identified that for communities in the area or for affected families, no school fees will be applied in the 2020 school year. There's been the provision of free childcare. All replacement uniform costs have been covered. Replacement of laptops, iPads and other electronic educational devices have been covered, and there has been dedicated and targeted welfare support for students and staff. I also acknowledge the efforts of the federal government in providing direct financial support for families, as indeed has been supported by the state government. And I don't think there is a minister in this cabinet who hasn't had a role to play in supporting these communities, including their children. All students and staff directly affected by the bushfires at Duck Ponds, Yorktown, Kalira, Cuddly Creek and Ravine are eligible to benefit from these measures. The Department has identified families impacted by the Ravine fire to enable the delivery of targeted support. Work's currently underway to identify families impacted by other declared bushfires to offer the same support. Ongoing support needs will be reassessed and a long-term psychological support plan for employees will be established that will comprise regular on-site support, telephone counselling and mental health recovery-focused workshops. Since the 13th of January, the Department has facilitated trauma-focused support and counselling, and this will continue during Term 1 as a minimum, and we will reassess needs as we go. And in addition to these overarching measures, we've also been working with specific schools that have been impacted. We'll be providing extended bus services on Kangaroo Island for the 2020 school year, including a door-to-door service where possible. And this has been arranged between the Transport Services Unit and the principal of the Kangaroo Island Community Education. The school transport policy will not apply on the island. Staff at the Kingscote Children's Centres have been impacted by the fires, so the centre has been staffed by volunteers. A creche service has been provided for the Kangaroo Island preschool. The Lobethal Community Kindergarten has been supporting a creche with resources for 4 to 6-year-olds since the 10th of January, and the Social Work Incident Support Service was available on Kangaroo Island during week 1 to assist in supporting children, families and staff. And I spoke to them and the staff who were supported when we were on the island. They were very much appreciated. The work will go on with the school to reassess the need of ongoing support there. The Swiss team has also been providing support to schools and preschools situated in Birdwood, Oakbank and Lenswood, with a backup team of social workers being taken offline to support schools. They're liaising with the child and wellbeing practitioners, Mental Health Services, SA Health and Child Protection Department to provide a coordinated response to schools. Extra teachers have been provided and leadership have been provided to schools to back up those staff, particularly who have needed to take special leave. On the island in particular, these staff have been fighting fires. They have not had a rest since the fires began. And then when the school started, obviously the children have demonstrated their resilience at school, but indeed a lot of those staff are very tired. And so those extra staff have been provided by the department to assist during the first month, and indeed at the end of the month we'll be reassessing with the principal what further supports are needed so that can continue. Similarly, extra staff support have been provided to schools in the Hills. I'll add further to this in my responses on the address and reply.